Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. I want to begin by asking you a very basic question, and the answer is going to be quite clear, and that is, do you prefer to be accepted or rejected? Now, of course, the answer is, well, we all want to be accepted. We don't want to just enter the world thinking that this is a place of harsh rejection. I mean, literally on the first day of life, as you entered the world, you screamed. And you wanted to know, are you going to take care of me? Are you going to tend to my needs? And as people hurried and scurried and did whatever was necessary for you, you calmed down and it's like, okay, good. Maybe this is going to be a safe place for me after all. When you engage with narcissists, you begin realizing narcissists are still asking that question, am I going to be accepted or will I be rejected? And the way that they conduct themselves with you has such an adversarial, competitive, one up, one down kind of mindset. It reveals that they are still struggling with the question, am I okay or am I not okay? And you can see that narcissists are trapped inside a mind of judgment and condescension. And frankly, one of the problems that they carry on the inside is they dread being deemed as a reject, someone who's not worthy of being acceptance. They dread the loser label that might go along with that. And so as part of their compensation for that fear, they've decided, well, if I can be the one who pronounces a loser's reject status onto other individuals, you see, that means I'm ahead of the game and I win. You'll notice that as you engage with these individuals, they don't trust. And they have pessimism that can just creep up into their engagement. Even though sometimes they can be friendly, there's that pessimistic thinking that's undergirding so much of the way that they engage with people. They refuse to be openly vulnerable because in their mind it's like, ooh, I don't know if that's going to be a safe thing or not. They desperately are seeking other individuals to psychologically prop them up. Now, they won't say it that way, but they must have your affirmation and they must have your concurrence and deference. And they're constantly gravitating toward negative themes, which means that they are very easily critical. Now, see, this doesn't arise from a vacuum. Somewhere deep down on the inside, narcissists have determined there's certain things that I have to think, say, and do to escape the potential of me being put in that down loser position. And the best way that I can do it is if I can find other people who are beneath me, then somehow I win. And of course, that's where you come in. Now, I want us to consider the fallout that happens with respect to this fear that they have, this dread of being labeled a loser, because there are so many different patterns that they will show you that imply that that loser label is just right there at the forefront of their minds. As an example, one of the things that you'll see that one of the patterns with people who are running from that loser status, basically they think to themselves, I have to maintain the upper hand. I had one woman explain to me that she loved finding out dirt on family members and friends and people that she worked with, and she just would point blank say it. It makes me feel like I've got something on them, and that way they can't say anything negative about me. And if in other words, if she could find reasons for a person to be labeled a loser, then somehow she's in an advantaged place as opposed to thinking, well, I can enter into their world and help them out. Didn't think like that. Or another pattern that tends to arise, and that is these individuals, as they go deeper and deeper into their condescension toward others, they fail to recognize the futility of a chronically condescending frame of mind. In their mind, it's like, well, it works for me to be condescending. And so as long as I gain, then I'm okay by that. I have to have that kind of thinking in order for me to walk away feeling good about who I am. You think about that, that's not a good strategy for living. Now, in addition, they develop a misunderstanding of the word power. In their mind, having power means that you dominate and subjugate other individuals, when in fact a healthy view of power means that you have a strength from the inside that you can draw upon in moments of crisis or conflict. But their notion of power means that you have to put somebody in the down position because they're in such compensation mode for that dread fear of being the loser. Now, likewise, they wind up becoming trapped inside their own mind of paranoia. You'll notice that they won't say it quite this way, but they're thinking when they're around people, do you think I'm okay? Did I say that right? Why did you disagree with me? And there's constantly this worry about them being put in a negative connotation with other individuals. They chronically are looking at the world through the lens of a victim. The world is out to get me, and I need to be on top of that. Now, that being the case, then, you'll notice that in their dread of being labeled as a loser, they erect a very thick wall of defense around themselves. First, they don't really want to reveal who they are, but then second, if mistakes ever do come along, they have justifications and rationalizations left and right trying to explain why I'm not nearly as bad as you might think that I am. They're desperate to maintain the narrative that you buy into about who they are. Now, that being the case, they're not good at considering nuances or mitigating circumstances. You know, one of the things that's necessary as we engage well with each other is we realize, well, I know that with some people, things play out this way, but with you, you have a different background or different cultural influences or different life experiences. And in order to have healthy relationships, you go into that nuanced kind of way. But you see, to that narcissist who has to have that upper edge, it's like, well, if I do that, then that means that I have to go into that, touchy-feely kind of way, and they're going to want to know certain things about me. That's too vulnerable. I don't want to do that. That being the case, then, they operate with a heavy dose of all or nothing, black and white, binary thinking, and they're very basic in the way that they approach people. They just don't get to know others well because they don't want to have to delve into themselves in that same kind of way. The net result is these individuals have a conflicted or a misunderstanding, a conflicted idea or misunderstanding about psychological significance. In their mind, you have significance as a person if you're better than someone else, or if you achieve, and if you can have all sorts of accolades. That means you're a somebody. Whereas significance comes from character, which is a whole different kind of thing. You know that you're significant when you know how to breathe goodness and kindness and love into other individuals. The narcissists who live in this type of fear that I'm talking about have very great difficulty into that. And as a result, another part of the pattern of their dread of being the loser is they have a great misconception of the notion of love. Love means that we have this enamored feeling, and then with them, they get to be elevated. And as long as they're in that kind of infatuation kind of thing, they're okay. But they want to be regaled. They want to be adored. And that's not the fullness of love at all, because there are so many other elements that involve patience and self-restraint that they just don't want to go into. So we look at the fact that narcissists have this dreaded fear of being labeled as the loser. They know that they wish for acceptance, but they fear that they're going to be the reject, and as a result, it's difficult for them to connect with you in a dignified level because they haven't really come to terms with their own core dignity from the inside out. Now, knowing and understanding this that I'm talking about, it explains so many different things. It explains why some people and the systems that they're in will create sometimes a very finicky in versus out kind of criteria about who's desirable and who's not desirable. It explains why these individuals must, when I say must, they must be right. It's like, well, being right means that I'm in the advantaged position. I'm not a loser because I'm right. I know everything. It also explains why these individuals will argue and argue and argue, or if they don't overtly argue, they'll just go into high stubborn mode and they'll stonewall you, because it's like, no, I can't consider anybody else's thoughts, because that means that I'd have to admit that I don't know everything. That's only losers do that, you know. It also explains why these people can hold grudges for a long, long time. If you dare come against them, it means you're judging them. It also explains why they keep secrets and they tell lies, because they don't want you to know anything that might be in that, negative direction. And it also explains why they feel like motivating through insults somehow is a great way to do things, when in fact that's not a motivation at all. So many patterns of life and so many nuances and ingredients come into play as that narcissist holds on to that dreaded fear of being the loser. Now, I know that as you engage with these individuals, you're kind of tired of being the designated loser. And so I'm hoping that you can see through their motivation, and I'm hoping you can decide, just because that's a mindset that you're trapped inside, I don't have to get in there and play the role that you have defined for me. I mean, you'd like to say, hey, why don't we consider, if you worry about being a loser, why don't we consider a better alternative? Like being the opposite of judgmental and condescending. Why don't we be encouraging, and why don't we show goodness and kindness and affirmation? But the narcissist is like, no, that feels too personal, and I don't want to go into that kind of space unless I feel like doing those things is going to get me something. And so that being the case, these individuals are going to be stuck in that rejects mindset. They are projecting onto you the unfinished business that they have on the inside of themselves. And it's so important for you to remember that. So instead of you playing along with that game and getting caught in your negative reactions, I'm hoping you can, in fact, be the person that says, I am going to focus on the better alternative. Dignity, respect, civility, and the goodness and steadiness that goes along with that. And I hope that videos such as this can give you some good awareness of what you might be up against. If you've not already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. We're going to keep more videos coming to you, and I hope that the cumulative effect can be very educational for you. Thank you for letting me be on your journey with you. Sometimes when you've been dealing with this, particularly for a good period of time, it's good for you to have a therapist. I mean, I'm a therapist and I'm retired now, but obviously I believe in that. We have a sponsor that's been with us for quite some time now, and I've received such good feedback from individuals. And there's a link below that will take you to their service. At BetterHelp.com, there's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that can assist you. It's available on a pretty quick basis, and it's affordable. So please, as the need is there, get the help that you need, and see if you can get some of that those healthier patterns in play in your life. Also, I have my courses, and it's like signing up for an online class. Each course has at least 25 videos. And each video has written documentation along with it, with guided questions taking you into a particular direction. One course is Ready, Set, Connect, about making healthy connections. Another is This Is Me, about establishing your healthy boundaries. Another is Free to Be, finding yourself despite those controllers. And then I also have my webinars that I presented, and they continue to be available on our website. They're of a very different kind of variety, along with many articles that we have. You have access to my podcast and my books, so plenty of resources. Check out the website and it'll all be there. Okay, every one of us wants to be accepted rather than rejected. Narcissists fear the reject kind of label and the losing feeling that goes along with that. That's their problem. I hope that you don't get sucked into the rabbit hole or to the wormhole that generates. And in doing so, I hope that you can, in fact, focus on the much cleaner alternatives of saying, I'm going to live with self-love, and I'm going to live with steadiness. And in the process, I'm hoping it can allow you and position you to become a person of genuine peace.